ESPN welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
And we welcome you back to Foxborough, Massachusetts. Clear skies overhead, 32 degrees as we approach kickoff. Very little breeze in the stadium. Baltimore won the toss and deferred, so New England will receive. First decision of the night for John Harbaugh, matching wits again with Bill Belichick. Justin Tucker will kick off. Cyrus Jones, the rookie out of Alabama, back deep. Tucker about 8 yards deep, and New England will begin at the 25-yard line, led by Tom Brady. How about those numbers? 19 touchdowns, only 1 interception. He was the top-rated passer in the league until yesterday when Matt Ryan of Atlanta went past him, and he's at 113.2. So Brady could be the top-ranked passer in the league again at the end of the night, although that will be difficult against this terrific Baltimore defense. Patriots come out firing. 7 opening drive touchdowns in 12 games this year, most in the league. On the ground with LeGarrette Blount, and he got rejected after a gain of 2. Eric Weddle up from his safety spot.
It's been a fast-starting offense. They like to jump on you at home. And Tom Brady running a more balanced offense. Expect to see a lot of different personnel groupings tonight. And Tom Brady will mix the tempo, Sean. He'll come out of the huddle, and he'll speed it up. And you never know where Tom Brady's coming from.
In his 17th year, at age 39, the oldest position player in the National Football League. The only players older are kickers and punters. Lots of time. Brady throws off the fingertips of Julian Edelman with Jimmy Smith in coverage.
You know, Julian Edelman is the man that Tom Brady loves to go to, especially early in games. Most of his catches come in the first quarter, and that time Jimmy Smith, who is once again healthy, locked Edelman out. They're down in 9. Anything goes from the Raven defense.
Smith back in action after missing 2 weeks with a back injury. Said no way he'd miss this game tonight in New England. Ravens showing blitz. Time for Brady. The catch made, and the move after the catch does not yield the first down for Martellus Bennett. Zach Orr made the tackle, and John Harbaugh's decision to put the defense out there pays off. It's an unusual 3-and-out to start a game for New England.
That is a great play by Zach Orr, the leading tackler of the Ravens. He's blitzing. He reads out of the blitz. Young misses a tackle, and guess who makes the play? Zach Orr.
Brian Allen punts. Late fair catch signal made by Devin Hester at the 21-yard line. Veteran waited a long time and did well to field the punt. Here come the Ravens, led by Joe Flacco, off one of the best performances of his career. 36 completions, the franchise record, and he's the only player to throw for more than 350 yards and 4 touchdown passes in one game. Now in his 9th season out of the University of Delaware. High formation. Terrence West, the tailback. Flacco faked it to him. Intended for Kamar Al-Aiken, and it might have been deflected by Rob Ninkovich.
Well, this is no longer a run-first offense, Sean. Joe Flacco will throw it 40 times tonight. 34 of 41 plays in the first half last week were passes, and expect a little bit of no huddle tonight. Flacco feels very comfortable up and at him.
The crowd into it early, trying to make life difficult for the Raven offense. Dumped off over the middle. West lunges for a first down. Taken down by Dante Hightower in the middle of that New England defense.
Well, it's a zone coverage. You're going to see West just check down right over the ball. The Patriots rush 3 men more than any team in football. And when you get a three-man rush, you have to use your checkdowns. Great work by Flacco.
They've gone more up-tempo, the Ravens on offense in recent weeks with success. Flacco took the check down. Steve Smith couldn't make the catch. Marty Morningwig, the offensive coordinator. The key to their success in recent weeks has been stability on that offensive line. This will be the same alignment up front for the Ravens for the 4th game in a row. Marshall Yanda, ordinarily their right guard, has moved to left guard because of a shoulder injury. And he's excelled as usual alongside the rookie. Ronnie Stanley. Smith off the field after he couldn't catch that last pass. 2nd down and 10 for the Ravens. Flacco swings it out wide for Kenneth Dixon. He lowered his head, bounced off Malcolm Butler.
Ravens have a lot of veteran players coming off an injury, and one of them is center Jeremy Zuta. And on that play, he just threw Alan Branch to the turf. Very impressive how many of these veteran Ravens have come off of serious injuries, and they're at full strength right at the right time here in December.
On 3rd and 6. Flacco in trouble and sacked back near the 25-yard line. Trey Flowers led the way. The ball came out. The officials conferring. The referee is Ed Hockley.
Flowers might be the best defensive player on this team. The 2nd-year man out of Arkansas. He lines up everywhere. He lines up at defensive end, outside linebacker. He is.
The quarterback was sacked, stopped by forward
off to the races
before the ball came loose.
Team high, 5th sack of the season for Flowers, and the Patriots been much more effective in that area of late. 13 sacks in the last 4 games. They had 13 in the first 8 games. The crowd wanted a challenge flag from Bill Belichick, but Ed Hockley announced that forward progress had been stopped, so they can't challenge that. And clearly he's going backwards. I don't think they're going to allow this challenge. Bill Belichick always knows where to find.
On the field, which is the quarterback's forward progress was stopped before the ball came loose. It is therefore not a challengeable play. There is no timeout charge and no challenge. It's 4th down.
Bill knows where to find that flag, keeps it in his sock.
And this could be an adventure, Sean, this punt return. The Ravens punting to the Patriots. The Patriots have fumbled 6 of these returns. There's Patrick Chung. You see Cyrus Jones back there.
Jones in particular has had trouble fielding punts. They put Danny Amendola back there last week, and he hurt his ankle fielding a punt. After Jones had struggled again. Sam Cook in his 11th year out in Nebraska. High and short kick and a fair catch made by Patrick Chung. 37-yard kick by Cook. Each team's had it once. No score. Monday Night Football from Foxborough. ESPN's Monday Night Football is brought to you by Dunkin' Donuts. Keep on fueling your football fandom. By Toyota, let's go places. And by NFL.com/Pro Bowl vote. Voting closes tomorrow for the 2017 Pro Bowl. Every vote counts. Here in Foxborough, Massachusetts, about 22 miles southwest of the great city of Boston. Foxborough settled in 1704, home to about 17,000 people. Home to the New England Patriots, who have it for the 2nd time tonight, a 3-and-out on their first possession of the night. Tom Brady and the Pats start at the 37. Handed off to Chris Hogan across the 40 and down in the arms of Albert McClellan at the 42-yard line. Hogan seemed to injure his hand there, and they're already depleted at wide receiver. Danny Amendola with an ankle injury. It's been reported locally that he likely out for the rest of the season. Bill Belichick told us Saturday that might not be the case. It's possible he could be back before the end of the regular season. And now with the personnel issues.
That's their first. It's a 30-second timeout.
This is a big problem for New England.
Well, it's a huge problem. They only kept 4 receivers to start the season. And when you lose Amendola, okay, who's the 4th receiver? Well, that time they were looking for Matthew Slater because he is the 4th receiver, and Hogan got hurt, and they couldn't find him. Depth is a huge issue. Specialization is a huge issue in this offense. And don't forget, they're missing the best tight end in football in Rob Gronkowski. And you look out in that huddle, somebody's got to step up. I don't know who's going to do it for the Patriots at tight end. They're hoping Martellus Bennett, who's been injured, is ready to roll tonight.
And Chris Hogan, after the timeout, is back on the field. And the Patriots spread the field. 4-man rush for Baltimore. Brady running out of time. Brady gets it off deep down the sideline, a little bit too long for Julian Edelman. And Terrell Suggs renewed his long-standing acquaintance with Tom Brady.
That pass rush of the Ravens. Doomerville at the bottom of the screen. Suggs at the top of the screen. 2 men that are professional finishers. And on 3rd down and 5, number 50, McClellan. Albert McClellan is the joker. You don't know what he is, a defensive end or a linebacker, and they try to confuse people in this package.
James White, the motion man, ordinarily a running back, excellent receiver on 3rd down. Brady over the middle and incomplete. Again, Edelman got his hands on it, couldn't hang on, and he is the key man in the passing game for Tom Brady.
That's huge. Get Brady off the field. It's an overload blitz. You'll see C.J. Mosley, number 57, on the right side of your screen. Did a decent job picking it up, but it's the underneath coverage that gets him off the field.
And the ball that Edelman ordinarily would catch. All 3 of Brady's pass attempts tonight have been in the direction of Julian Edelman. Ryan Allen punts again. This time a clear signal by Hester for a fair catch, and he wishes he caught it as the Patriots are going to down it at the 1-yard line. Jonathan Jones kept it out of the end zone. '56-yard punt. Great effort. These are 2 excellent special teams units for both the Patriots and the Ravens. Jones kept it out of the end zone, and Malcolm Butler down there to help on the play as well. Devin Hester couldn't field the punt. Jonathan Jones kept it out of the end zone. Matthew Slater, special teams dynamo for New England, there to down it, and the Ravens start from their own 1-yard line. Deep handoff, in trouble, it'll be a safety. Malcolm Brown stuffed the run by Kenneth Dixon.
And give defensive coordinator Matt Patricia an assist. Right before the ball is snapped, the Patriots shifted their defensive front. Watch the defensive line shift. And you're going to see number 90, Malcolm Brown, in this front, unblocked. He crushes the fullback. That's great defense in a backed up situation. The Patriots can beat you a lot of different ways. You just saw them on their special teams create field position, and Matt Patricia has to be proud of his front 4 with getting that done.
The Patriots' opponents this year have had the worst average starting field position in the league, in large part because of the outstanding special teams play. Their opponents average starting inside their own 25, and because of the punt play, and really a rare mistake by the Ravens on special teams. Hester needs to catch that punt.
Well, Hester's been around a long time. That's very uncommon for a man of that experience. Perhaps he misjudged it, didn't see it in the lights. Critical mistake, and great teams make you pay. And Malcolm Brown, former first-round pick out of Texas, Good every down defensive lineman.
Last player taken in the first round, 2015 with the free kick. The punter, Sam Cook, out there. 3 men back deep for New England. Julian Edelman from the 15. Weave through the traffic to the 34-yard line. Sharice Wright made the tackle for Baltimore. Here comes the New England offense for the 3rd time. Sputtering start, but the defense has scored 2 points. We mentioned the stability on the offensive line for the Ravens, and that's been true for New England. This is the 7th consecutive game with this starting offensive line much improved over a year ago with the health of the offensive lineman, the key, and the terrific coaching by the veteran Dante Scarnecchia. Dion Lewis, the ball carrier, out to the 38-yard line.
And here's Tom Brady now in a no-huddle offense. And this is a no-back set. They like to put these running backs outside of the receivers to get a man zone read for Brady.
On 2nd and 6. Over the middle. Caught by Edelman. Lunging toward the line to make. Zach Orr there for the Ravens. It looks like they're going to spot him just a little bit short.
Just a shallow cross against the zone coverage. Nice job by Edelman getting north and south. 3rd and short.
Career catch number 400 for Julian Edelman. This is the 100th game of his career. On 3rd and short, Dion Lewis, the ball carrier for New England, 1st down to the 45. New England's going to go quickly right over the ball. The fullback James Devlin in the game, offset in front of Lewis, and it's a handoff on the end around to Chris Hogan. Yanked down by Zach Orr. As coach mentioned during the pregame, far and away their leading tackler for the season.
He diagnoses plays as well as anybody. Take a look at number 54. They're going to fake the ball to the left. It's an over-the-top reverse, and Zach Orr, tremendous instincts. I love his playing style.
Here comes a Ravens blitz. Brady off his back foot. Flag down to the secondary. It was intended for the rookie Malcolm Mitchell. Incomplete, but there is the flag.
I think they got Gerard Powers in the slot.
Before the pass was thrown, holding defense number 26. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic 1st down.
There's Powers, the nickel corner. He plays in the slot. He's going to see a lot of Julian Edelman tonight. They caught him red-handed with a hold. And checking in the game now, number 82, Matt Lingle. Another tight end, 71, Cameron Fleming, with Martellus Bennett. This might be the strangest 3 tight end formation in Bill Belichick's career.
Fleming ordinarily an offensive lineman. They fake the handoff. Wide open, caught. Martellus Bennett, up 1st down to the Baltimore 31-yard line.
You got to be ready against Bill Belichick. They sneak Bennett in here. They have Marcus Cannon, Matt Lingle. Nobody knows who these people are, and it's a quick count play pass, and Brady stings him. Good to see Bennett moving around again. He's one of the players I can't wait to see down the stretch.
Then you knew we were going to see some strange formations tonight, didn't you?
You're going to see some more, too.
Yep. Key part of the angst that's built up in this rivalry. Brady's pass looked like it was deflected. It made it to Devlin. Did not complete the catch with Jimmy Smith there for the Ravens.
I give Belichick credit. That's James Devlin from Brown College. He's going to play some tight end. He came in with 1 catch for 5 yards. They have Matt Lingle, who they got off the Bengals practice squad. He played 6 snaps. He's never caught a pass. And they have Cameron Fleming, number 71, who's going to report as a tight end. He can't catch. So this is a great job by Josh McDaniels, Bill Belichick, using their roster to the fullest.
54. There.
Look out, Brady dumped it off just at the last moment. Elvis Doomerville right in his face.
Doomerville came in with 97 career sacks. Good to see him healthy again. He missed 5 games, and with he and Suggs on opposite sides, I wish Josh McDaniels luck.
Late flag thrown. This is going to be intentional grounding.
Intentional grounding. Offense number 12. There was no receiver in the area. It's a 10-yard penalty. Kind of lost him down. Brings up 3rd down.
Take a look at Brady. It's a quick protection. The offensive linemen try to cut down the Ravens, and I think that's a good call.
There's Dean Pease. You mentioned all the surprises already from Bill Belichick and Josh McDaniels. When we spoke to Dean Pease, who was 6 years an assistant on the New England staff, he said usually when you prepare for another team, you have a rough idea of what to expect. With the Patriots, whatever you expect, they're going to give you something completely different. And with the depleted wide receiver situation tonight, what does New England do? They spread wide receivers all over the field, and other players out wide as well. James White, the running back, on the right hip of Brady on 3rd down and 20. Tom steps up, zings one toward the end zone over the head of Edelman. With Jimmy Smith in coverage, and Brady very upset.
Well, Jimmy Smith, that's the second play he's made tonight. One-on-one coverage deep against Julian Edelman. Tom not happy at all.
You think he was mad because it looked like Edelman stopped running, slowed down a little bit as he got to the goal line, and the pass went over his head.
I think you're right.
Ryan Allen will try to drop it near the goal line again. He got 14 yards of bounce on the first one. Backspin on this one, and then it's kicked into the end zone by Shea McClellan. Boy, tough break for New England. The ball will come out to the 20-yard line. Brady hasn't lost any competitive fire at age 39, that's for sure. Tom Brady and Julian Edelman very close on and off the field, but doesn't mean you can't get a little agitated with each other every now and then. I think Tom was upset, as we said, going to break, that Edelman looked like he stopped running on that route. The ball went over his head. So the Ravens start from the 20. Kenneth Dixon squirts out near the 24-yard line. Marshall Yonda doing some woofing with Dante Hightower. For all the talk about the Ravens defense so far in our telecast, nothing wrong with the defense being played by Matt Patricia's Patriot unit. As a matter of fact, these two teams started the night tied for the league lead in scoring defense, both giving up 17.2 points per game. Flacco dropped. Looked like Dixon was stumbling as the ball was on its way.
And take a look in that Patriot huddle on defense. Number 53, Kyle Vanoy, a man they traded for to the Detroit Lions. He's a former 2nd-round pick, and they are making him an inside linebacker, Sean. He'll wear that green dot on the back of his helmet. He played his best game last week against the Rams. He had an interception. A lot of hybrid players. You don't know if these are linebackers or pass rushers, and they create confusion.
Green dot, they communicate into his helmet. Matt Patricia, 3-man rush on 3rd down, and the Ravens have a 1st down. Kyle Juszczyk running through the Patriot defense all the way down to the 36-yard line. Finally wrestled down by Cyrus Jones.
And Steve Smith is involved in an altercation in the middle of the field.
And there is, as you see, a flag down, thrown well downfield.
Great play by Juszczyk coming out of the backfield. Number 53, the man I just spoke of, Vanoy, blew a coverage. And how about this yards after the catch? That's sheer effort and determination.
Personal foul. Unnecessary roughness defense. Number 21. 15 yards from the end of the run. 1st down.
Malcolm Butler.
And Sean, we expected Malcolm Butler and Steve Smith to have quite a battle tonight. End of play after Juszczyk took off down the field. 37 years old, Steve Smith. And this Raven organization fits his personality perfect.
55-yard play in total, 40 yards on the terrific effort by Juszczyk, 15 more for the penalty. And the Ravens at the 21 of New England. Flacco forced to retreat, swings it out wide for Kenneth Dixon. And the rookie out of Louisiana Tech, where he played for Skip Holtz, down at the 16-yard line, tackled by fellow rookie Cyrus Jones.
Dixon had 87 touchdowns in college. He can run it and catch it. Ozzie Newsome, I think, has had one of his best drafts, and that's saying a lot. You look out there at Stanley at left tackle, Dixon, a number of rookie contributors. Well done.
John Harbaugh told you on the Monday Night Football bus last night he thinks this is the best draft class they've had in his 9 years as coach. Flacco, dangerous throw. Lucky that wasn't picked off. Looked like it was intended for Darren Waller, one of their tight ends.
Well, Alan Branch, number 97. He can create some penetration right over the center. He can push the pocket, high tower. He has no choice but to throw that ball off his back foot. You're not going to be accurate.
Now it's the Ravens who spread the field with receivers. Good blocking. Pass batted down by Malcolm Butler. It was intended for Mike Wallace.
Malcolm Butler every week seems to get better and better. He's got great ball production, not only interceptions, but he can make plays on the rock with that timely, fast twitch movement that he has. And here's Tucker. I don't think I've ever seen him miss.
Well, he hasn't missed on Monday Night Football, and he's the only kicker who hasn't missed at least one kick this year. He's made every field goal and every extra point this season. Made 35 straight field goals. They jump the center, and it's blocked by Shea McClellan. Timed perfectly.
Did he touch the center? McClellan goes over the top of Morgan Cox. That's a clean block. What a play by McClellan.
Well, the importance of special teams. John Harbaugh made his name in the league as a special teams coach. Bill Belichick was a special teams coach early in his career. It's the Patriots making the big plays on this unit so far. John Harbaugh, Bill Belichick, we mentioned their special teams backgrounds. John Harbaugh talked last night about he thinks there are more special teams coaches around the league who should be head coaches, including his own Jerry Rosburg. Ravens usually among the best special teams in the league, but struggling in that area tonight. So Garrett Blunt got collared after a 2-yard gain. Ravens defense, as John said, talent all over the field. The secondary for Dean Pease certainly enhanced greatly by the arrival of Eric Weddle after 9 years as a San Diego Charger. Ravens talk about how Weddle blended in from day one, became an immediate team leader. Blunt approaching a 1,000-yard season. Stopped 3 yards short of the first down as we tick down to 5 minutes remaining in a very entertaining first quarter.
Garrett Blunt closing in on 1,000 yards, but he knows every yard is going to be tough against this Baltimore Raven defense. Most of Blunt's work is done after contact, Sean. He is a legitimate pounding back.
Tom Brady talked about the rare combination for Blunt of size at 250 pounds, but he's shifty. He's not just a straight ahead runner. He has some wiggle in the open field. 3rd down 3. Ravens best 3rd down defense in the league. Brady down the middle to Edelman, first down. And battling Julian Edelman, they finally wrestled him down inside the 40. It was Eric Weddle who made the tackle.
Julian Edelman, over 400 catches. He's working in the slot against Gerard Powers. That's no contest. And Tom Brady, with very good pass protection, throws a bullet. First down, Patriots.
Patriots were anticipating a lot of double coverage on Edelman tonight without Gronkowski. They spent much time in their practice session Saturday doubling up Edelman in practice. Ravens were on Edelman on that play, so it got dumped to Blunt, and he turned it into a quality gain. Don't know if that was the play design or not, but it worked for about 7 yards.
Tom Brady in the pocket. Watch, he's going to fake a bubble screen and try and shoot one down the field, but his feet stay alive. He's playing with excellent quickness. They jump the ball. Here goes Blunt.
Blunt lowers his shoulder and has the first down. Rude greeting for the rookie out of Temple, Tavon Young, who's an emerging star, part of that terrific draft class that Coach Gruden spoke about a moment ago.
Here comes that tempo, Sean, and Tom Brady drives defenses crazy. Baltimore having a hard time lining up.
First and 10, 26-yard line. New England leading 2-0. Edelman taken down immediately by the rookie Tavon Young.
And you know where Tom Brady's going with the football. He's going to his friend Julian Edelman. I think Edelman has 8 catches in the last 3 weeks. Already 7 targets tonight.
8 catches in each of the last 3 games for Edelman, exactly 8. And more catches in the first quarter than any receiver in the league. 2nd and 6, a screen for James White. Inside the 10 and down at the 8-yard line. First and goal, Patriots.
Great play by the right guard, Shaq Mason. He's a very athletic guard. Watch him get linebacker Zach Orr, the man responsible for White. That's an excellent pickup, and down goes the numbers. James White, a very good pass receiving back.
Josh McDaniels thinks Mason has a chance to be the best guard that they've coached here, and that's saying a lot. James White got blasted but stayed on his feet, fought for every inch to the 3-yard line.
New England going on a quick count, and Baltimore having a hard time getting themselves in their stances. And look at number 98, Brandon Williams, their defensive tackle. He's exhausted. This up-tempo offense is wearing down the front of the Ravens.
Williams listed at 340 pounds. He'd probably take the over. Quick throw. And it's short of the end zone for Malcolm Mitchell. The rookie went lunging for the goal line. Didn't quite get there. Rod Powers and Jimmy Smith there to stop him. And Smith's hurt.
Smith, who missed a couple games with a bad back, returned to action last week against Miami. He is the #1 shutdown corner for this Raven defense.
Oh, it's his leg, I think, twisting underneath him. He's still down. Jimmy Smith helped off the field, still in pain, and it looks like they're going to take him to the dressing room now. 3rd and goal, New England. LeGarrette Blunt, head down, charging into the end zone for New England, touchdown.
They came out of the huddle with the speed break. The Patriots came roaring out of the huddle, got set. They snapped the ball in a quick count again, and after contact, LeGarrette Blunt scores. Watch them come out of the huddle. They know what the play is. They come out quickly, and Brady sets them. They go on a quick count, and LeGarrette Blunt, 14 touchdowns. He just tied Curtis Martin
for the single season Patriot record. It's also the NFL lead this season in rushing touchdowns, 14 for the 7-year veteran out of Oregon. having his best year as a pro. So a safety, now a touchdown, and Stephen Gostkowski on to try the extra point. And it is good just inside the right upright. Brady 5 for 5 on the drive. No other night is Monday night. Well, Tom Brady said against Baltimore it's going to take long drives. That one took 10 plays. He completed 5 passes in 5 attempts. And LeGarrette Blount the touchdown. Stephen Gostkowski kicks it deep, and Devin Hester takes a knee. Well, you talked about it during the pregame, Coach. Blount been battering opposing defenses all season long. Now 14 rushing touchdowns, and that's great company when you're tied with the Hall of Famer Curtis Martin.
You're not kidding. With Garrett Blount, a lot of these touchdowns, he gets the old-fashioned way. He earns it. Let's see what Joe Flacco and his Raven offense have. They got to get something going. Patriots have jumped on him.
Flacco fires and caught. Steve Smith out across the 40. They're going to mark him down at the 43-yard line.
Play action pass. It fools the inside linebackers as Steve Smith with perfect timing. And no fear in the middle of the field. First down, Baltimore.
He and Flacco formed a great combination. Rehab together from injuries that kept them out last year. Dumped over the middle for Terrence West. He's tripped up. Lunged forward to the 49-yard line. Tackled by Shea McClellan. We're in the final seconds of the first quarter. Very little's gone right for Joe Flacco and the Ravens, but they're down just 9-0.
And typically when they struggle, they lean on this muddle huddle. Speed things up. Try to get Flacco a couple completions and get him in a groove.
They've run 14 plays, 12 of them passes. They're going to let the quarter end. For the season, only Cleveland throws the ball on a higher percentage of downs than does Baltimore. Entertaining as you would expect when these two rivals get together. The Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year Award is presented by Nationwide to recognize players who've made a significant impact on the game and in their communities. It's a prestigious honor. Each team nominates one player. Finalists announced in mid-January. The winner will be selected and announced at the NFL Honors Show in early February, February 4th. The Patriots nominee Rob Gronkowski. You saw the Ravens nominee Steve Smith Sr. both doing great work in their communities, and they have for a long time. For more, NFL.com/Man of the Year. And before the Ravens can even snap it for the first play of the quarter, a penalty.
False start offense, number 88. 5-yard penalty. It's second down.
Well, this stemming by the New England Patriots is driving Baltimore crazy. They got a safety on it earlier. Watch the Patriot defensive line right before the ball is shipped. Pitta on the left side of the screen jumps offside. It causes a lot of communication problems for the offense when the defense moves. And on the road in this noise, it's a challenge.
Second penalty against Baltimore. One of the most penalized teams in the league. Time for Flacco. Had to throw it short. Terrence West belted and gang tackled. Patrick Chung with the primary hit. Rob Ninkovich also in on the play.
And in this sixth defensive back look for the Patriots, you're going to see McCourty, number 32, teamed up with Harmon, number 30. These are ex-teammates at Rutgers. They like to put these two Patriots in the back end together. They can disguise, and they put their other safety, Patrick Chung, their leading tackler, number 23, as a linebacker, and he's the guy that makes most of the plays.
Third and 7. Flacco has an open man and a first down. Completed to Kamar Aiken with Logan Ryan trying to cover him. The Ravens into New England territory after a 10-yard gain.
Nice throw by Flacco. Aiken, who's taken a bit of a back seat this year because of the addition of Mike Wallace and the healthy Steve Smith with a huge conversion.
He was their leading receiver a year ago. With Smith back, Wallace here, and Pitta back after being sidelined for a couple of years. He's more of a role player now, Aiken. Dixon, the ball carrier. Rob Ninkovich made the tackle after a short gain, a pickup of 2.
And checking in is Dennis Pitta, Sean. What a story Pitta is. Been hurt for the last couple years. A lot of people thought he'd never play again, and guess who leads the Ravens in receiving?
Pitta fractured his hip in 2013, again in 2014. Flacco throws, nobody looking for the ball. It caught Sean Perryman by surprise. He was one of the many Ravens injured last year. It devastated their season as they went 5-11. So many star players out. Flacco missed 6 games with a knee injury. Suggs almost the entire year. Steve Smith has come back from an Achilles at age 37. That's remarkable. This year they've had great help. That group of players you saw has missed only 3 games combined. 1 by Suggs, 2 by Smith. Pitt is back, and he's been terrific. He's been their leading receiver for the year. 3rd down and 7. Flacco incomplete. Too far out in front of Kenneth Dixon. And this is likely a little bit too long to try a field goal for Justin Tucker.
That's just good defense by New England. Marty Morningwig, the offensive coordinator, motions to an empty backfield. 4 receivers to the left, and New England sorts it out beautifully. There's nowhere for Flacco to go against this 3-man rush. 8 Patriots in coverage.
And movement and the usual finger pointing.
False start offense, number 48. 5-yard penalty. It's 4th down.
Patrick on Wasso. Flacco in the offense, trying to get its act together on the near sideline. Gettleman back inside his own 10-yard line. Patriots overloading one side. Cook under duress got it off. And out of bounds on the fly. They're going to mark it at the 11-yard line. ESPN's Monday Night Football is brought to you by Jaguar, the art of performance. By Chili's, chillin' since '75. By ESPNShop.com, powered by Dick's Sporting Goods. And by Navy Federal Credit Union, federally powered by NCUA. It's become such a great rivalry. They're the only 2 teams in the league that have gone head-to-head in the playoffs 4 times since 2009. And who knows, we could have another postseason meeting between these 2 teams. From the 11, 1st down, New England leading 9-0. Again, they spread the field with receivers. Quick throw by Brady on target for a quality gain on 1st down. James White, the running back out of Wisconsin, run out of bounds by Eric Weddle.
You know, these Patriots, they're missing a lot more than Rob Gronkowski's pass receiving numbers. He did a lot of things as a blocker and pass protector that they got to prove they can replace.
Josh McDaniels told us Saturday they think Gronkowski's the best blocking tight end in the league, in addition to his well-known pass receiving talents. Edelman, the ball's out. Was it a catch and a fumble? And the officials are now waving it off. Incomplete pass.
I'll take a look at the end of the play. Edelman clearly mishandles it. That's the 2nd time tonight Julian has failed to put the ball away.
He's not been on top of his game tonight. C.J. Mosley there, third-year linebacker out of Alabama. Third down 4. Spread again for the Patriots. 4-man rush. Open receiver. On the move, James White. Taken down from behind by Lardarius Webb, but a huge gain for New England to the Baltimore 22, 61 yards.
It's all in the pre-snap. Tom Brady knew it was man-to-man coverage. He's in a no-back set, and he sees C.J. Mosley one-on-one with James White. There's that alert. He goes to a man-to-man beater, and James White, an uncommon skilled receiver for a running back, rips him.
Flag down. Malcolm Mitchell down at the 18-yard line.
Tom Brady's changing speed. He's driving Ed Hockley crazy.
It's huffing and puffing. We all know he's in good shape.
Illegal shift offense. Number 19 never got set before the ball was snapped. 5-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
Well, they're in the huddle. They got a no-back set. Tom Brady has a play designed for a zone. If he sees man-to-man, there he goes. Alert. Now they're running a play that's designed for man-to-man. Everybody changes their route. And when you have a guy like James White, you can mismatch linebackers in these empty formations. Keep an eye on White as the night unfolds. He is special.
Patriots line up quickly again. 1st and 15. Chris Hogan, the motion man. Look here at Blunt. Blunt down inside the 15-yard line.
Shaq Mason at right guard pulls on a power play. I love watching this young guard pull. They love to feature him in this power running scheme, and watch him on the second level. Oh, that's good stuff.
13-yard pickup by Blunt. Blunt again. Running through the top-ranked rushing defense in the league to the 5-yard line. Zachary Orr made the tackle. 1st and goal, New England trying to add to a 9-0 lead.
You know, Sean, one of the best offseason acquisitions of the Patriots is Dante Scarnecchia, the return to their great offensive line coach. Same play. They just flipped it over the other way, and Joe Tooney, a rookie left guard, gets it done.
Once at 995 yards for the season. He takes it in the end zone. He's at an even 1,000. Instead, he loses a yard. Chopped down at the 6. Dante Scarnecchia joined the New England coaching staff in 1982, and for the most part was here ever since. He went away for a couple of years to Indianapolis and came back. He's now 68 years old. He was retired for 2 years, and he got tired of being retired, and he came back, and what a difference maker he is.
Yeah, not many people run the same power play 3 consecutive plays against the Ravens, but he brings a lot of expertise, teaching, and confidence to the Patriots.
31st year with New England. A blitz, the pass, batted down and incomplete. Suggs leading the charge, as is usually the case.
And in this 3rd down and goal situation, Sean, Tom Brady loves to set the formation, use a dummy snap count, and try to get the Patriots in the best possible play. Watch the man work.
And the chess match continues from the sidelines. Dean Pease and Josh McDaniels, good friends. They coach together in New England. Another blitz brought by Pease. Brady in the traffic, touchdown. Malcolm Mitchell.
That's one of the guys we wanted to see perform under pressure. Malcolm Mitchell, a rookie out of Georgia. And Tom Brady read the all-out blitz perfectly. He knew the unblocked blitzer was coming on his right. And he throws a perfect bullet for 6.
He didn't have a touchdown catch in his first 9 games of this rookie season. He's now had 4 in his last 4. Josh McDaniels was raving about Mitchell. He said usually late in the year the rookies start to fade. They're used to a shorter college season. They hit the wall. He said Mitchell's one of the rare rookies getting better as the year progresses. And John Harbaugh will need to rally the troops. Gostkowski converts. It'll be 16-0 with 9.5 to go until halftime. 89-yard drive. 8 plays. 16 zip New England. Coverage tonight from Skycam, brought to you by American Express. Many of the fans here on their feet. They've watched New England execute back-to-back touchdown drives of 74 and 89 yards. And the Patriots lead the Baltimore Ravens 16-0 with 9:28 to go in the first half. Sean McDonough, John Gruden, Lisa Salters, and our terrific Monday Night crew led by producer Jay Rothman, our director Chip Dean. Stephen Gostkowski kicks off. Well, it really doesn't matter what month it is. Tom Brady is terrific, but he's particularly outstanding in the month of December. 51-10 in his career as a starting quarterback. Only Brett Favre has more wins in the month of December, and Brady could tie him tonight. Tom Brady's getting to that point where every week there's another record or two or three that's being added to his Hall of Fame resume.
Every year I keep hearing about how old he's getting. I don't see it.
He's in phenomenal shape. He told us Saturday he'd like to play till he's about 45 years old. He's 39 now and not showing any signs of slippage. Terrence West, a hard-earned yard. It'll be 2nd down and 9. Kyle Van Noy led the way for the New England defense.
Joe Flacco, a lot of adversity, a lot of desperation on this Ravens sideline. They're playing for their playoff lives. It's been a very streaky Baltimore team. They won their first 3. They lost their next 4. They came in here having won 4 out of 5, but they need to get something going quick.
New England crowded the line, then rushed only 3. Flacco, deep ball in a double coverage, and it is intercepted. Off Mike Wallace and into the arms of Devin McCourty, who has a lot of running room as he brings it back. McCourty across midfield, still on his feet, inside the 40 and banged down at the 37-yard line. There is a flag back near the original line of scrimmage in the center of the field.
Tried to get it all back on one play, and Flacco made a mistake. He threw it into the strength of the Patriots secondary, and Devin McCourty shows you why he's one of the best free safeties in football.
His first interception of the season and a 41-yard return if it stands.
Threw it right into a double zone. Only question is, was McCourty touched after he caught it? I don't believe so.
New England started the night with just 13
During a return,
takeaways.
holding by the receiving team. Number 21, it was the head of the play. The foul will therefore be enforced from the end of the run. 10 yards. It is New England's ball. 1st down. We will review the ruling on the field.
13 takeaways starting the night. It's 26th in the league, but New England comes up with another one and gets the ball back. Devin McCourty, the interception, his first since September 27th of last season against Jacksonville. Ruling was the interception. He was not down by contact caused by Mike Wallace, the intended receiver. They've marked the ball at the Baltimore 48. If that's how it stands after the replay review. It's tough to tell if Wallace grazed his hand, and even if he did, it doesn't really look like McCourty had possession yet. Still kind of juggling it around. Oh, they're going to bring the ball back.
It is New England's ball. However, the intercepting player was touched by Baltimore number 17. He was touched on the hand before the New England player went to the ground. He's therefore ruled down by contact where he hit the ground at the 23-yard line. Because he was down before the hold occurred, the holding penalty is eliminated. New England's ball, first down.
Is there anybody better at explaining than Ed Hockley?
Yeah,
he's a lawyer.
Grazed by the hand.
Well, the question that Jerry
down by contact.
The question that Jerry Austin raised here in our booth was what we referenced. Did McCourty have possession of the ball when he's touched? Because if he hasn't possessed the ball yet, this little grazing on the hand doesn't matter. And well, he goes out of the picture for a moment. But apparently, they ascertained it was possession when that contact was made. So wipes out the terrific return by McCourty.
Sure does.
Two-time Pro Bowler, 7th year out of Rutgers, 19 career interceptions. Instead of starting in Raven territory, New England from its own 23. Brady right in stride. It's Martellus Bennett spinning down at the 50-yard line.
You get the running game going and pound people with Blunt, you can fake it to them. Watch this reverse pivot. They fake it to Blunt. And C.J. Mosley has no chance but to step up. Great play selection by Josh McDaniels. And that's what I love about this Patriot offense. They're balanced. They can run it. They can throw it. And if they ever get in trouble, the 17-year veteran Tom Brady can figure it out.
184 yards passing for Brady with 8 minutes to go in the half. Running out of time, just did get it off to a wide open Malcolm Mitchell. Weaving through the secondary down to the 16-yard line. Lardarius Webb made the tackle.
Timmy Jernigan is off to the races for the Ravens. He's beating down on Tom Brady, but Brady's movement in the pocket and his ability to keep his eyes downfield. That's why a lot of people don't dispute that he is the best quarterback to ever play.
And he's in phenomenal shape. He works so hard. Exercise and nutrition. He feels like he's moving better this year than he has in a long time. Blunt, the ball carrier. And you think back to when he was drafted, and everybody knows the history, the 198th player selected in his draft class in 1999. And back then the question, Coach, was, well, he's too skinny, he's too slow. You've seen the video of him running a 5-something 40, hit the combine.
Yep.
But now it's really his physical condition that is largely enabling to play at this high level.
Roger.
12-yard line, 2nd and 6, and it's out of bounds on the near sideline by Mitchell.
What I love is 17 years in the same building. And when you look in the huddle, there's a lot of first-year Patriots without very much experience. You've seen Malcolm Mitchell, left guard Joe Tooney. Martellus Bennett is a first-year player here in this organization. Shaq Mason, first year really as a full-time starter. And when you get to play with Tom Brady, you elevate your game.
Third down and 6. Over the middle, caught. Hogan knocked down at the 2-yard line.
They are
First and
dominating.
goal.
Excuse me, Sean. It's Dante Scarnecchia's group. The offensive line is punishing the Ravens.
New England up quickly again. James White in trouble and smothered behind the line of scrimmage. Zach Orr, Terrell Suggs, and it's one of the few times when Brady seemed to be changing something that doesn't work out for him.
That time the Ravens moved right before the ball was snapped, and it's critical that they get off the field with no more than a field goal.
And I moved him up one spot in the draft. He was the 199th player taken in the 2000 draft. Just proposed the numbers a bit in my own mind. 5.5 to go. Halftime. All New England. Brady for Hogan. Hogan. Big tackle by Zach Orr.
I can't say enough about Zach Orr. Another undrafted linebacker. They did it with Bart Scott. They did it with Donnell Ellerby, and now Zach Orr, their leading tackler, number 54. He's going to see a lot of stuff on this play, and he reads out of it, makes a beautiful one-on-one tackle to set up 3rd and goal.
His 8 tackles already, like those other linebackers ahead of him, earned his way onto the defense by being a standout on special teams for a couple years. Big 3rd down and goal from the 2. Nobody near Brady. Still nobody near Brady. Now he's hit, and the ball is intercepted and run out of the end zone by Eric Weddle. Huge turn of events. Looked like New England had a chance to almost put Baltimore away here in the 2nd quarter, and a much-needed big play for the Ravens.
And an uncommon mistake by Brady. Under duress, Weddle makes him pay.
Rare turnover committed by New England, just their 9th of the year. That's the league low. It's just the 2nd interception they've thrown this year, both by Brady. The record low for a team interceptions thrown over a season is 5. They still have a chance at that. Weddle's interception is 2nd in as many weeks. Baltimore from the 10. Boy, did the Ravens need that. High throw caught by Steve Smith. Gain of 5. Dante Hightower made the tackle during Devin McCourty's interception return that was brought back by the penalty. The starting center for Baltimore, Jeremy Zutaw, was hurt. He's gone to the locker room. They're evaluating him in the concussion protocol. So John Urschel, the 3rd-year man out of Penn State, is the center. Over the middle, it's off the hands of the Patriot defender Kyle Van Noy, and incomplete.
They are bluffing a lot of blitzes and driving Flacco crazy. That time they showed a double A-gap blitz. Both linebackers bailed out of there. Watch number 53 on the left side of the center. It looks like it's a blitz right before the ball is snapped. They bail out of there, and Van Noy makes the heads-up play.
3rd down and 5 for Baltimore. Flacco, one-handed catch of the snap, throws, and a good catch over the shoulder by Mike Wallace for a 1st down for the Ravens out to their 32-yard line. Logan Ryan in coverage for New England.
That is a great throw by Joe Flacco. Out of the bunch formation, Mike Wallace explodes, finds the ball at the last second for a huge 1st down. Can Baltimore get something before the half?
First catch for Wallace. Good for 16 yards. Flacco out wide again to Kenneth Dixon. They're not getting much run out of the catch when they do complete those short ones. Deron Harmon closed ground quickly, and now it's the rookie Dixon going to the sideline.
This Patriot defense, they really could care less how many yards you make. It's a scoring defense. They do not let you score many points. They force you to be patient. They don't make mistakes. You got to methodically move the ball.
Pressure from the corner, thrown in that direction by Flacco, and Brashad Perriman, 2nd-year man out of Central Florida, made the catch. They'll need 6 yards to move the chains again, and there's an injured New England Patriot on the plate. It's Deron Harmon.
Oh, it was a corner blitz, and Harmon came from his safety position to make the tackle, and he's still down on the field.
Time for tonight's edition of Monday Night Lights. It took place on Saturday afternoon here at Gillette Stadium. Coach Gruden spoke with 6 local high school teams. Millbury High School, Cumberland, Charlestown, Perth, New Mission, and Brighton High School. You had a lot of fun with those guys.
Yeah, I did. Man, there's some good football players here in this area. If you're a young guy out there, join a team, go play, have fun. and support youth sports. Be on a team.
Ron Harmon walked off the field under his own power. 3rd down and 6. 4-man rush. Flacco pulls it down. Trying to escape. Gets it off. Caught short of the 1st down. Good catch by Dennis Pitta, but he's 2 yards short of the line to make. Jerry Rosberg, the special teams coach, conferring with John Harbaugh. He's been aggressive this season, going for it on 4th down. He might be doing it again.
Did it twice last week against the Dolphins in the first half. I wouldn't be surprised if they use a hard count, try to lure New England off sides, and if they don't, punt the football.
John Harbaugh said when they're going for it, they get up to the line, they have a play in mind. If they get the look from the defense they like, they run it. If not, they'll use a timeout. And that's what they did as they got over the ball, the play clock running out. And Harbaugh leaning now on some of his assistants to make a very important decision.
Well, it's tough on the assistants. It's 3rd down. You don't get it. You think you're punting. And then 17, 18 seconds before the shot clock, go for it. And you don't have time to get to the perfect play. That's a good time out there by the Ravens. Love to see him get something before the half. But, boy, you give Tom Brady the ball in this field position, that could be a knockout punch.
Yes. And given how many catastrophes have befallen the Ravens here in the first half, they have to feel pretty fortunate it's only 16-0. A lot of different things have gone wrong for them. The interception was huge a moment ago, and now a whistle and a flag thrown just now by Ed Hockley.
False start offense. Number 30. 5-yard penalty. It's 4th down.
Well, they were going to go for it on 4th down. Not anymore.
It's a rookie player, number 30. Kenneth Dixon. Not set. And mistakes have really hurt the Ravens. You see Dixon tipping forward before the ball snapped. Good call by the referee. And again, here's 2 punt returners for the Patriots.
Cyrus Jones has had trouble catching the ball, and Patrick Chung trouble hanging on to the ball. Sam Cook, the punter. Short kick, very short. Whoa, Jones almost made another mistake. Ran close to it with the coverage team approaching and wisely got out of the way at the last moment. The Ravens defense, all kinds of impressive numbers starting the night. Tied with New England for the NFL lead in points allowed, leading the league in rushing yards, yards per rush. Allowed the fewest opponent 1st downs in the league. They've been the best in the league on 3rd down. New England 6 out of 10 on 3rd down tonight. Since the merger, no team has finished the season leading in all 6 of those defensive categories.
Well, you can only measure your defense against the best offense. And right now they haven't measured up very well.
Holding offense. Number 69. 10-yard penalty. Half the distance to the goal. Repeat 1st down.
Well, the Dion Lewis run gets brought back on the call against Shaq Mason. And they knew it. You know, Terrell Suggs over the years, he's had spirited match out there with Tom Brady. They've done a lot of woofing at each other. For a long time, he's refused to even say Tom Brady's name. But we asked him last night, is Tom Brady the best quarterback you've ever played against? He said, now you know I can't answer that. And they said, but yes, he is.
Yeah. Hey, there's a lot of respect between these 2 teams.
And that's as it should be. 2-minute warning in Foxborough, 16-0 for the home team. Buddy Tevens, coach at Dartmouth, challenged students at the Thayer School of Engineering up there in beautiful Hanover, New Hampshire, to design a mobile tackling device, and they delivered that mobile virtual player.
Or how much they are.
That's a good question. They're Dartmouth. They can afford it no matter what it is. From the 9-yard line, 1st and 18. Inside handoff. And Dion Lewis swung down by Matt Judon, the talented rookie out of Grand Valley State. Dean Pease compared him to Terrell Suggs in our meeting last night, both on and off the field. He says he's got a lot of personality like Suggs, and he's got a lot of the same skill set.
Well, they use him to spell Suggs, who's 34 years old and not playing as many snaps, but he's playing quality snaps.
Brady, time incomplete. Good coverage intended for Julian Edelman. Sharice Wright in coverage, seeing more playing time with the injury to Jimmy Smith, and he was right on Edelman on that play.
I've seen Sharice Wright struggle at times this year, but that's a great job by Wright, coming off the bench, throwing a cape off, and making a play for this Raven defense. Look for John Harbaugh to take an immediate timeout, give his offense one more crack at it if they can get a stop.
Edelman's been targeted 9 times. They've completed only 3 of them. He's dropped a couple. Here comes Weddle on a blitz. Weddle is right there to take down Brady at the 12-yard line, and John Harbaugh will use a timeout, leaving Baltimore with 1. Quick timeout. New England a punt with 1:11 to go in the half from their own 12-yard line. No breeze to speak of as Ryan Allen kicks it away. Devin Hester at his own 36. Devin Hester out of bounds just shy of midfield. 52-yard punt. 13-yard return. Moments away from the Toyota halftime. Breakdown of the first half. And Boomer's final drive. Among the subjects, Odell Beckham Jr., key in the Giants win over Dallas last night, and Le'Veon Bell, who's still gaining yards against the Buffalo defense as we speak.
Yes, he is. 3 receivers at the top of the screen. Keep an eye on Pitta at the bottom.
Been a very rough half for Baltimore, but they could go into the locker room with some life in their step if they could score here. On his feet, Kenneth Dixon. Evan McCourty finally made the tackle.
Most of Joe Flacco's completions tonight are to his backs. Patriots playing a lot of zone coverage, at times rushing just 3, and Flacco gonna have to maintain his patience, get something on the board, and anything can happen.
52 seconds, a timeout. Ravens at the New England 37. Blitz off the corner. Picked up nicely. Flacco throws into traffic. Wallace caught it. Held on to it as he got dumped by Rob Ninkovich. And the clock runs, and Coach Harbaugh waving at them to get lined up quickly.
We're going to have to hurry to get this off.
30 seconds to go. They are in field goal range at the very least for Tucker. Another corner blitz from Butler, and another short completion to Brashad Perryman, and now they're going to have to use the timeout. Devin McCourty rallied quickly to make the tackle.
Well, the Patriots are rushing 4. You just don't know which 4. 3 down linemen, and they bring a defensive back, and they're forcing Flacco to throw side adjustments. Watch McCourty go cover the receiver. Here comes the corner off the right side. It's just a 4-man rush, but you don't know which 4 Patriots Matt Patricia is rushing. And he and Bill Belichick have done an excellent job keeping the Baltimore Ravens off balance. And on 3rd down and 5, you try to figure out which Patriots are rushing and which Patriots are covering. But it's been a lot of zone coverage, Sean.
Matt Patricia graduated from Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute with a degree in aeronautical engineering. And as Matt Light, the former Patriot, said, when you figure out how rockets work, you can probably scheme up some pretty good defense. I think Patricia's one of those guys who's going to be a head coach very soon. Great personality in addition to his intelligence. Flacco too high over the head of Kamar Aiken. On 4th and 5, here comes Justin Tucker. who had his first and only attempt of the night blocked, his first miss of the season. Shea McClellan went leaping over the center and blocked the 34-yard try. He had made 35 in a row, which was one shy of the Ravens franchise record held by Matt Stover. This will be a 50-yard try. He's 8 for 8 from beyond 50 yards this year. McClellan started as if he was going to try it again and backed away. And Tucker right back to where he usually is, between the uprights. And we're 11 seconds away from halftime. From the lead at the half has been the harbinger of victory for the New England Patriots, 85 in a row in the regular season at home, when leading at halftime. The NFL record.
That's impressive. Let me tell you. The Ravens have had no balance on offense, Sean. 26 Joe Flacco passing attempts, only 4 rushing attempts. We knew they were going to come in here and air it out. But so far, the Patriots and their special teams have been on the money.
By the way, that Patriots streak, regular season home games when leading at the half, that started September 30th of 2001, the day Tom Brady made his first start in the NFL. So that's how far back that goes. And they beat Peyton Manning and the Colts. Tucker, the kickoff. Matthew Slater downs it.
Well, it's been all 3 phases, Sean. Offense, defense, and special teams. They down a punt inside the 1. And then their defense, they stem the front, they confuse the Ravens, they rock them for a safety. And then they jump over the top and Shea McClellan blocks a Justin Tucker field goal. They do it in all 3 phases. Over 250 yards of offense, good special teams, and their defense allows just 3 points.
So the Patriots lead 16-3. Baltimore will get the ball to begin the second half. Stay tuned for the Toyota halftime with Chris Berman right after this short timeout. Welcome back to ESPN's Monday Night Football from Gillette Stadium, just off Route 1 in Foxborough, Massachusetts, where the Patriots lead the Ravens at the half 16-3. Sean McDonough and John Gruden. Could have been a lot worse for the Ravens. You saw a couple things you haven't seen in a long time in that first half.
Yes, I did. I want to show you the Patriot way is what I want to show you, Sean.
And that's brought to us by Zales and their extraordinary moments.
This is extraordinary. This Patriot way, it always works. They can beat you with all 3 phases. And it starts with their defense. Watch them stem the front right before the ball is snapped. They run through a linebacker, and they cause a safety. They score with their defense. Then Shea McClellan jumps over to center and rejects a Justin Tucker field goal. That saves them 3 points. Then they see an all-out blitz. Tom Brady goes to his rookie wide receiver, Malcolm Mitchell, on a beautiful slant pattern. The Patriot way, they can beat you 3 ways. Offense, defense, special teams. Every year, they find new people to make great contributions, and this is an important drive to start the 3rd quarter for the Ravens.
Among the things we haven't seen very much this year, Tom Brady throwing an interception, and we hadn't seen Justin Tucker miss a kick. He had one block. Brady threw a very important interception when they were about to add to their 16-0 lead. John Harbaugh and the Ravens get the ball first to begin the second half. Steven Gostkowski will kick off, and Devin Hester back deep for Baltimore. This one's returnable if he wants to try it, and he will. Devin Hester, one of the great return men in the history of the league, chased out of bounds by Duron Harmon. A flag down back inside the 20-yard line.
And it's coming back.
During the return, holding by the receiving team, number 91. Half the distance to the goal from the spot of the foul. Baltimore's ball, first down.
Here's Lisa Salters.
Well, Sean, remember the Ravens came in with the best defense in the league coming into this game. Didn't look like it in the first half. I asked John Harbaugh what was giving him problems, and he said, you know, we were just giving up big plays, staying out on the field, running away from man coverage. Offensively, though, he said, all it's going to take is us just getting some first downs. We got to get some momentum, and then he said we might be able to open some things up. John?
And Flacco seemed very content to take the short pass even when he's had more time. Unbelievable tilt to the play calling. They've run 4 running plays, 27 passes in the first half. And they start from their own 7 with their 5th run of the night. And Kenneth Dixon pelted to the line of scrimmage by Dante Hightower. Only one team has run fewer running plays in the first half of a game this season than Baltimore's 4 in the first half. Seattle 3 runs in their first half against New Orleans.
Well, they don't run the ball like they used to. They came in here throwing the ball 65% of the time. They have a rookie left tackle, Stanley, out of Notre Dame, a backup right guard, and they moved their perennial Pro Bowl right guard, Marshall Yanda, to left guard. They've had a lot of interchangeable parts.
4 runs in the first half, also the franchise low in Ravens history in their 21st year. Again, another very short pass in New England there to take down Kenneth Dixon. Again, Shea McClellan with help from after the miss by Patrick Chung.
They swarm to the football. They use a lot of different Patriots. They're in full substitution mode now. McClellan leaves the field. Malcolm Brown, Jabal Sheard are come off the field, and here comes some fresh New England Patriots. Keep an eye at the bottom of the screen, Sean. Number 95, Chris Long, the ex-St. Louis Ram. He closed out the Jets a couple weeks ago. He loves playing in big games.
Didn't play in many while he was a St. Louis Ram. Biggest reason why he came here as a free agent. Juszczyk work to do to get to the line to make, and he won't get there. Duron Harmon, who was injured in the first half, left for a while, has come back.
It's the Patriot way. I mean, they hustle to the football. They're playing zone coverage, eyes on the quarterback. As soon as the ball leaves his hands, there's 1, 2, 3, and there you see 4 and 5 Patriots converging on the football. That doesn't just happen. That is coached. Let's see what's going on here.
Yeah. A odd look as they break the huddle, then they snap it quickly. And a good punt by Cook. Hanging up high and down to Patrick Chung. And he's tackled at the 35-yard line. First crack on offense for New England in the second half right after this. ESPN's Monday Night Football is brought to you by Dick's Sporting Goods. Every season starts at Dick's. By GMC, we are professional grade. And by the new Bacon King sandwich, 6 strips of crispy bacon, piled atop a half pound of 100% beef, only at Burger King. Images of a great man.
Oh, you're gonna have to help me, Coach.
Yes, he was.
My dad, Will McDonough, longtime sports writer for the Boston Globe, covered the Patriots starting from their beginnings in 1960. And very much missed, particularly here in his native Boston and New England. Julian Edelman, the catch.
He was a great rider, and he made his way into television with those good looks.
Yeah, he overcame that.
One of the most versatile talents ever.
Well, he was the first information man, made the transition from newspaper writing, kept writing, but also went on to television. The old NFL Today with Brent Musburger and later at NBC. And I know guys like Adam Schefter and Chris Mortensen, Peter King are so grateful that he paved the way for them to follow. The ball carrier, LeGarrette Blount, and the catch made by Timmy Jernigan. And you think, and you saw it firsthand too, from 1960 to now, all the changes. For a long time, this was a nomadic franchise. They weren't very good. And all of a sudden, you know, they become the model of the league, this beautiful stadium. It's remarkable what has changed. I'm glad my dad lived long enough to see them win that first Super Bowl, engineered by Tom Brady. Third down and 3. Edelman the catch, and New England converts on third down, just shy of midfield. There's a lot of people responsible for the turnaround. Robert Kraft, the owner. On the right of your screen, Jonathan Kraft, one of Robert's sons. And of course, Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, and so many other people now in this organization to play a key role.
No doubt.
It's quite possible we're looking at the greatest coach and the greatest quarterback in the history of pro football. Flea flicker, Blunt threw it back. Brady down the middle, on target to Chris Hogan.
So I'll practice this on Saturday, and Josh McDaniels has the guts to call it. They hand the ball off to LeGarrette Blunt, and he flips it back to Brady, but how about the throw? You can't cover it any better. Another first-year Patriot steps up. Patriots going for the knockout blow.
From the 24, hand off to Blunt, up to the 28-yard gain. He's ahead for enough, we believe, to get him over 1,000 yards for the season.
A couple years ago, they used a flea flicker, and Julian Edelman threw it to Danny Amendola for a touchdown. How about that?
That was in the divisional playoff game, and that was a huge play as New England rallied from 14 down twice to win 35-31. That was also the game with the tricky formations. It was the subject of much discussion and still is. Edelman said they had that play in for 10 weeks. He was dying to have them call it. Brady threw it. Might have been better off throwing it away. You could see the defense there. Threw it to Mitchell anyway. And it's stopped for a loss by Sharice Wright.
He thought Eric Weddle was going to blitz, and he was going to throw the ball out there in a sight adjustment, but Weddle fooled him. Eric Weddle, the ex-San Diego Charger, has an interception and a sack tonight. He was the leader of the Chargers. He called their signals. He came to Baltimore, and he had to not only come in and make plays, but he had to be a leader and a communicator, and he fits right in with this bunch.
And the players all talk about he should have been a Raven from day one. It matches that play like a Raven mantra. Brady to the end zone in traffic, and a battle for the ball. Won by Bennett. Touchdown, New England.
But we asked these 3 first-year Patriots to step up under pressure of the playoffs. And Bennett, Hogan, Mitchell have all delivered huge plays in their first year as New England Patriots. What a throw. Brady saw he had the matchup, the undersized Orr against the big Martellus Bennett. Touchdown, New England.
Great strength, Bennett, to hang on. Bennett hasn't been as productive in the pass game in recent weeks. He's been battling through ankle and shoulder injuries. Gostkowski makes it 23-3 with 8:45 to go in the third quarter. 19-yard touchdown pass by Tom Brady. And the key play, the 28-yard flea flicker. Well, Tom Brady has atoned for his first red zone interception of the season in the first half with his 16th red zone touchdown pass. Here in the third quarter, capping a 7-play, 65-yard drive. New England leads 23-3. On that drive, LeGarrette Blunt went over 1,000 yards rushing for the season. 15th time in Patriot history someone's rushed for 1,000 yards. Hester doesn't try to run it out. .845 to go, third quarter. Brady putting on a show on Monday night. 8:45 to go, third quarter. Baltimore with a lot of work to do. Down 23-3 as Joe Flacco brings them up 1st and 10 from the Raven 25. Kenneth Dixon. Strong run. He got 9 before he got repelled. Shea McClellan in the middle of it again. Boy, he's had a second life here in New England. He was a first-round pick for the Bears and never really became what they thought he was going to become. But typical Patriot way, as you like to say, they identify a guy who think that would be good for them, and he has been.
Well, he's a versatile guy. He can play on the line of scrimmage. He can play off the line of scrimmage. The perfect hybrid for this defense.
Flag down.
False start offense, number 71. Was in a three-point stance, and then he lifted up his hand from the ground, which is a false start. It's second down.
Ricky Wagner. A lot of pre-snap penalties tonight on the Ravens. And where is Steve Smith? At the top of the screen against Malcolm Butler.
Flacco, I mean, they've been doing this all night. These little short throws that go for a yard or 2 or 3. Nick Boyle, the tight end, the catch. By the way, the 9-yard run prior to the penalty more than doubled the Ravens rushing total for the night. They had 8 yards rushing all night before Dixon went for 9 on first down.
They got to pick up the pace. They're late getting out of the huddle, and you need time at the line to decipher who's coming and who's dropping on this Patriot defense. A lot of confusion right now on the Raven offense.
Off a season high 496 yards of offense in their win over Miami last week. They've been held to 162 by New England tonight. 3rd and 3, very important, and they go deep down the field, and it's dropped. Mike Wallace couldn't hang on, broken up by Devin McCourty. Looked like it was going to be a big gainer for Baltimore.
They show blitz, everybody bails out of there. I thought McCourty was late getting back to the post, and Mike Wallace can fly. That ball's underthrown by Flacco, and McCourty is able to make a play on it. You got to get that ball out there. Flacco normally hits that one.
Well, would you be inclined for a fake here if you're John Harbaugh? Jerry Rosberg, the special teams coach. Nope. Cook kicks it low, end over end. And Jones, that might have hit his foot. Boy, he's had one catastrophe after another. The Ravens are on it. Whose ball is it? That's Baltimore's ball. Boy, they keep putting him back there in part because they don't have other options, and he just keeps struggling on the punt returns.
That's total carelessness by Jones in a 20-point ball game. Get away from the ball. Credit Cook, the punter, for kicking an oddball punt to the rookie Jones. He knew he had been struggling. He made a terrible decision.
Chris Moore got on it. Well, 3 different Patriots prior to tonight.
By the kicking team. It's their ball, first down.
Have taken cracks at returning punts, and Patrick Chung made it 4 tonight, and 3 of the 4, with the exception of Chung, have fumbled at least once on punt returns. They've had 7 fumbles on punt returns this year. That leads the league. That play counts as a fumble. Cyrus Jones prior to tonight had handled 12 punts and fumbled 3 times. Amendola 25 punts, fumbled twice. Edelman had handled 11 punts and fumbled once. They don't want to put Edelman back there because of the injuries to others. They can't get him banged up on a punt return. 65-yard punt. Huge break for the Ravens. Can they punch it in? Not on that play. Off the hands of Darren Waller with Logan Ryan in coverage.
Baltimore has to take advantage of this gift. Waller, a former receiver at Georgia Tech, making the conversion to tight end. Got to snatch it. Who's going to make a play for Baltimore tonight on offense?
They empty the backfield. Flacco. Into the end zone, caught this time by Waller for a Baltimore touchdown.
Motion again to a no-back set. 4 receivers to the right, and it's Waller, a massive target. Number 84 going to work inside. Good pass protection, good throw by Flacco. And I doubt you'll see Cyrus Jones back there returning punts anytime soon.
Nope, they'll keep trying. And apparently he doesn't have the problem in practice. Because you know if he did, then he definitely wouldn't be out there. I mean, it's unbelievable. John Harbaugh is going to go for 1 here, try to make it a 13-point game. 6:50 to go, third quarter. Uncharacteristic mistakes on special teams on both sides. Dustin Tucker started hooking and then sliced back. Boy, they needed some help from the Patriots and they got it. The rookie out of Alabama, Jones. Coach, I know this is near and dear to your heart. Play Ball Foundation, local organization that partners with Boston Public Middle Schools to fund teams for underserved populations. Nearly 2,500 boys and girls in 7 sports every year. The football season culminates with Monday Night Football. They played on a Monday night a couple of weeks ago at Harvard Stadium. 4 teams, 2 games, sponsored by the Bill Belichick Foundation and Harvard University. A lot of great people involved with play ball. Mike Harney, the founder and chairman, one of the all-time good guys here in Boston. Rob Brogy, Pete Thamel. So many serving so many kids. Great program. Matthew Slater back for the kickoff now for New England. And the ball's out. And the Ravens have it. Another special teams mistake by New England from a Pro Bowler, Slater, who's ordinarily not a return man. Sharice Wright comes up with the loose football.
Slater's been inactive. He's been hurt. Just brought up for this game with the injury to Danny Amendola.
It's just the 3rd kickoff he's returned all season.
I think it's Juszczyk.
Yep.
Juszczyk makes his presence felt as a receiver, now on special teams. And you don't want to give Joe Flacco, a world champion quarterback with this pedigree, this kind of an opportunity. Flacco is a flatliner. He feels no pressure, and he's used to coming here in big situations and winning.
Well, they are a team that believes they can come to Foxborough and win. Sometimes you wonder if other visiting teams believe they can. Flacco over the middle, caught, retreating, looking for ground. Steve Smith finds ground and almost the first down. New England boots away a punt and a kickoff within 14 seconds.
There's Steve Smith on a crossing route against his 3-man rush. He can still get it done. He can move the chains with the best of them. 2nd down and short. Ravens have had no running game, and they've made very little attempt to do so.
6 rushes, 34 passes for Baltimore. Was ever running down, this might be it, although a lot of teams think 2nd and 1's a free play. Sticks in the ball carrier. I think back to the man I worked for at Syracuse, coach, the great Dick McPherson, who later coached New England Patriots, used to run all the time on 2nd and 1. And the reporters used to say, a lot of people consider that kind of a free play. What's with all the runs on 2nd and 1? He said, I like first downs.
That's a good answer.
It's a very good. It's why he's in the College Football Hall of Fame. First and goal, Baltimore. On the ropes several times tonight. Pressure up the middle. Flacco's throw too high. A lot of bodies in the middle of the field in the general direction of Steve Smith.
Doing a nice job against Dennis Pitta, their leading receiver. Patrick Chung coming close to the line of scrimmage, choking Pitta, not letting him get off the line of scrimmage, and he's making Joe Flacco look for some other Raven targets. A lot of 3-man rush from the Patriots. Hard to find an open man.
There's an open man in the flat. It's Kenneth Dixon with a Baltimore touchdown.
Ooh, the coverage. The one time they blitz, they don't cover the back out of the backfield, and Joe Flacco has Baltimore right back in the game. No idea who's covering Dixon out of the backfield. You see McCourty, number 32. It looks like it's his coverage. He covers the tight end. He and Dante Hightower, 54, are not on the same page. A lot of mistakes from the New England Patriots after a 23-3 lead. Tom Brady, an interception in the end zone, a fumbled punt, a fumbled kick, blown coverages. Bill Belichick can't believe it.
2 touchdowns in 1 minute and 26 seconds. Justin Tucker just inside the upright. And a long way to go. It's shaping up as another dandy between the Ravens and the Patriots. One of the great special teams players in the league, Matthew Slater, with the most recent Patriot mistake. And Baltimore capitalizes. They're not afraid to come to Foxborough. Patriots in the Belichick-Brady era, 15-3 at home in playoff games, but 2 of those 3 losses are against the Baltimore Ravens. Ravens, as we said, have played here in the postseason 4 times since 2009. They've won 2 of them, including after the 2012 season when they went on and won the Super Bowl. The only other postseason home loss for Belichick and Brady in Foxborough to the Jets. And the Ravens are right back in this game that has a playoff feel. And mock cheer goes up from the crowd. Dion Lewis is only a yard or 2 in the end zone and took a knee. They want no part of a potential problem.
And if I'm head coach John Harbaugh, I go over to Terrell Suggs, C.J. Mosley, Doomerville, and I say, okay, now it's your turn. They have a lot of very good players on this defense. They have not played their best game at all tonight. But Suggs has new life. Jernigan has 5 sacks. This is a defense that has created turnovers and done an excellent job of getting after quarterbacks. Now's the time to do it.
4 down, Lion.
Play fake by Brady to LeGarrette. One deep throw, far side. Edelman inbounds. Yes. First down, New England.
Brady can't throw the ball much better. His last 3 throws have been on the money. And Edelman walks the chalk. Great work.
Had the ball, both feet in, completed the catch. Onward they go. 16-yard completion. Brady to Edelman. Blunt showed that shiftiness at 250 pounds. A sharp cut to the right. Finds some room out just short of the 45-yard line.
Quick count. Ladarius Webb playing free safety, working with Eric Weddle. Told us last night, I'm not so sure where Weddle is going. His disguises, his experience have helped Webb make the transition from corner to safety. And it's time for one of these 2 veterans to make a play for the Ravens.
Brady steps up, throws short, like the catch, rolled to the line to make, but they're not going to give him the spot there. There's a flag down in the offensive backfield for a holding call against New England.
Holding, offense, number 62. 10-yard penalty, repeat 2nd down.
Joe Tooney, the rookie left guard out of NC State.
62 on the left side of your screen, working against Brandon Williams. I didn't see much there. And on 2nd down is 16. Screens, draws. And if Tom Brady feels man-to-man, he'll go to the emblems and give us one of those alerts.
Brady, couple of hitches and threw it away. And they're getting close to Tom. He hit the ground again with Lawrence Guy there. Guy delivered the hit that forced the red zone interception thrown by Brady in the first half.
They have a lot of different kinds of rushers. They have big men. Brandon Williams caused the holding penalty. Guy with the pressure. And the speed and the threats outside from Suggs. and Doomerville.
You can feel the uneasiness in the crowd now. New England cruising for a long time, but they've made mistakes that have helped bring Baltimore back. Brady throws short, juggled. Hogan work to do, and he's tackled well shy of the first down as Rod Powers rallied to the ball at the 45-yard line.
And Sean, it's another mistake by New England. You have a short yardage situation, you commit a holding penalty, and it allows Powers to blitz at the bottom of the screen. Brady's forced to uncomfortably get rid of the football short of the first down.
Ryan Allen, low end over end punt. You're just waiting for a disaster on every special team situation now, and here it is for Baltimore as they let it roll, and it goes all the way down near the 1-yard line. These are two teams, are they not, Coach, that have a great history on special teams? I mean, it's hard to believe these are the Ravens and the Patriots the way these special teams units have played tonight.
And both head coaches, former special teams coaches, and that's usually what you do, Sean. Give people the kiss of death. Remember, in this situation in the first half, Baltimore had the ball in the same end zone, and the Patriots lined up and shifted right before the ball was snapped, and they caused a safety. Be interesting to see if Matt Patricia, the defensive coordinator, does the same thing. I'd be surprised if Flacco doesn't come out of here firing.
Well, they've already had a safety, the New England defense, when Baltimore started from the 1. This time they're at the 2. They've had 3 safeties this year, New England. The record is 4 in a single season. Big hole and a strong run, nearly 9 yards for the rookie Kenneth Dixon, taken down by Patrick Chung.
Run right behind Marshall Yanda. He is the best offensive lineman on the Ravens. And after Jonathan Ogden, I'd say he's the best offensive lineman in Raven history. He pounds Malcolm Brown. Tough guy. Bad shoulder, switch positions just so he could keep playing. I wish I had him on my team.
Nick Boyle, the tight end, motion back toward the snap. Good job by Dixon to hang on. They were trying to knock it out. He got plastered.
It's Dixon for a rookie. I mean, 87 touchdowns at Louisiana Tech. Last few weeks, he has run the rock well. He's earning more opportunities in his Raven backfield.
Only one man in the history of major college football had more touchdowns. That's Keenan Reynolds, the great Navy quarterback, who was drafted by the Ravens and is on their practice squad right now. He had 88 career touchdowns. A blitz. Flacco dumps it off. Terrence West maneuvering. Yanked down by Logan Ryan, just shy of the 20.
Matt Patricia with an unorthodox game plan. He's not rushing more than 4 guys often. You just don't know which 4 he's bringing. He's brought cornerbacks, nickelbacks, linebackers, drop defensive ends. 2nd and 4.
Toss to West. He made 2 yards when it looked like there was nothing there. Malcolm Butler on the corner. And we're ticking down to a minute to go in quarter number 3. The Ravens at one time trailed 16-0. They're within 6 points now. And Malcolm Butler, who is in on the tackle, is still down for New England.
Toss sweep right at Butler. Over 70 tackles last year. This man loves the briar patch, and let's see how Butler is. He clearly the #1 corner. They're missing Eric Rowe, who started the last few games.
Rowe's out with a hamstring injury. Very few had heard, even here in New England, had heard of Malcolm Butler before his heroics in the Super Bowl, the interception against Seattle, when it looked like the Patriots were on the verge of defeat. Big hand for Malcolm as he gets up. And back then he was a role player, Coach. Now he's their best corner.
Yes, he is. And this goes to show you players come from all over the place. West Alabama. Super Bowl hero and Cyrus Jones playing cornerback at the bottom of the screen. Number
Big
31.
Third down. Crowd knows it. They're involved with under a minute to go now in the third quarter.
31 is Jonathan Jones. Two backup defenders at the bottom of the screen. I'd work them.
Ravens offense, one of the worst in the league on third down. Flacco throws, first down. Wallace the catch. Logan Ryan tried to pull the ball out. He could not.
Mike Wallace, been a big addition. Just goes up and gets it, secures the catch, gets the first down. Very familiar with the Patriots. Wallace had some battles as a Miami Dolphin against New England.
Ravens 31st in the league on third down this year, 34%. They converted there, and then Dixon got flattened by that rookie. Coach Gruden was just talking about Jonathan Jones out of Auburn with a big play. End of the third quarter. Monday Night Football from Foxborough. The Patriots leading the Ravens by 6. Well, it looked like the Patriots had control of the game early. It was 16-0 late in the second quarter, and they were in the red zone again. Tom Brady threw an interception. The Ravens got 3 before the half, and they've taken advantage of more New England mistakes here in the second half. Belichick and the Pats leading 23-17 as we go to the fourth. 2nd and 14 for Baltimore. This possession started from their own 2. They're at their own 23. Flacco dropped. Kenneth Dixon tried to run before he caught it.
It's a 3-man rush, nowhere to go. Joe Flacco checks the ball down in the flat. Dixon took his eyes off it before he ran. 3rd down and 14. New England is going to rush 3, and they're going to have 8 Patriots in coverage, reading Joe Flacco.
3rd and 14. 3-man rush. They dump it over the middle, hoping Mike Wallace can run for a while. They missed some tackles, and now he's trying to find some room. The ball sheared, slowed him down long enough to allow Jonathan Jones to get there. Anxious moments for the Patriot defense, but they did stop the speedy Wallace shy of the first down.
Jonathan Jones missed that tackle, and he made up for it with great effort. Watch Jones in the slot. It's going to be a designed block screen, shallow cross. They throw the ball. Jones misses a tackle. A lot of guys would quit. He keeps hunting. He crosses the field and runs down to Speedy Wallace. Great work by Jones.
Not surprising, Cyrus Jones not back for this punt. Julian Edelman is with Patrick Chung. Sam Cook's punt. Out of bounds, far sideline near the 22. They're going to mark it at the 23. Well, we showed you their record when leading at the half. 85 straight home games in the regular season, one won the halftime lead. That number is 90 straight regular season home wins when leading entering the fourth quarter. That is by far the all-time NFL record.
It's hard to be successful in this league to start with. Very hard to sustain the level of success that Tom Brady and Belichick have. And they finish this one.
McGarrett punt. Elvis Doomerville said that's enough after a 2-yard gain.
Doomerville broke a Raven record a couple years ago with 17 sacks. Just happy to be back out on the field playing again. He's been battling a foot problem. And on 2nd down and 8, will defensive coordinator Dean Pease, the ex-defensive coordinator of the Patriots, bring it. Here they are in a double-A gap blitz.
Four-man rush. They put pressure on Brady, and another drop ball by Julian Edelman. It was in traffic with Charisse Wright on him, but still, ordinarily, he hangs on to many more balls than he's been able to catch tonight.
Well, Charisse Wright with a nice close. They know where the ball is going. They know Julian Edelman, primary target, and they've done a decent job of containing Edelman with a variety of different Raven defenders.
And without two key defenders in the secondary, Jimmy Smith went out earlier, has had his ankle x-rayed, and Gerard Powers out right now. He's being evaluated in the concussion protocol. On 3rd down and 8, Dion Lewis cannot get away from Zachary Orr at the 30-yard line.
That's how it's done. You need one of those tackling dummies or something, but watch Orr drop out of this blitz look, keep vision on the quarterback, and as soon as the ball is thrown, he breaks down and makes an unbelievable one-on-one tackle against Dion Lewis, who's dangerous in space. That's impressive.
10 tackles for Orr. Brian Allen to punt. Hang on to your hat. It's another special team situation. And it hits later. Hester was waving his teammates away. Better field position this time for Flacco and the Ravens, down by 6. ESPN's Monday Night Football is brought to you by Miller Lite, the original light beer. By Buffalo Wild Wings, wings, beer, sports. By NFLshop.com. Visit the official store of the NFL and save up to 25% today. And by Snickers. You're off your game when you're hungry. Eat a Snickers. Another classic between the Ravens, John Harbaugh, the Patriots, and Bill Belichick. Once relatively close. Matter of fact, Bill Belichick recommended John Harbaugh for the job with the owner Steve Bisciotti. Now strain in that relationship. All the memorable battles in recent years. Nick Boyle the catch. He dragged Patrick Chung along for a little bit.
Joe Flacco is mentally tough, Sean. Overcame a serious knee injury in week 12. He's had 5 different offensive coordinators in 5 years. I don't know how many different receivers have come and gone. Even Ray Lewis's old teammates criticizing him. But here he is in the 4th quarter with the Ravens right in it in Foxborough.
Second and 4 on the delay. That running play works well. First down, 5-yard gain before Kenneth Dixon got knocked down by Jabal Sheard, and there is a flag back in the offensive backfield.
That's a false start on Flacco.
Illegal motion offense number 5 was moving forward at the snap. 5-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
Thought he was trying to change the play. He was trying to audibly walks forward to fix things, and Zuda snapped the football.
Yeah, I tell you though.
Well, I saw it from up here, Sean.
Yeah, you did.
You're not going to see Ed Hockley miss much.
No.
Big penalty.
Yeah. John Harbaugh spent a lifetime in football. I doubt he's seen that very often. His dad, Jack Harbaugh, great coach, is here tonight with mom, Jackie. Dennis Pitta makes the penalty a moot point. We think the spot isn't quite where it looked like Pitta got to, but they're going to give him the mark and a first down.
They're going to drop both ends and bring both inside linebackers. It's just a 4-man rush, but over and over, you never know which combination Matt Patricia is bringing. 1st and 10 Ravens. Watch Flacco try to sort this out.
Hey,
11 minutes to go. Dixon bouncing around, pinballs his way to the 42-yard line. Another flag down. This one thrown near the line of scrimmage.
Holding offense number 71. 10-yard penalty, repeat first down.
Rick Wagner, the right tackle, fourth-year man out of Wisconsin, who's been having an excellent year at the right time. He's going to be a free agent at the end of the season.
How many holding calls have been called on the Raven offense this year? Highly penalized team, and that's a backbreaker.
Their first tonight, first holding call. I mentioned earlier, among the most penalized teams in the league, and that was a big one. First and 20. They're back on their own 24. Five-man rush, didn't really put any pressure on Flacco. The ball floats forever, and it's still caught by Brashad Perryman.
The young man can fly out of Central Florida. Last year's #1 pick. He did not play. Multiple knee injuries, and he burns New England deep. Runs right by Cyrus Jones, who has been struggling all night. And what a throw by Flacco.
47-yard gain to the New England 29-yard line with 10 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. New England has led virtually the entire night. They led 16-0. Flacco, short set. Boyle, tight end, chopped down at the 22-yard line by Dante Hightower and Devin McCourty.
Everybody talks about Rob Gronkowski not playing for the Patriots. Well, the Ravens are missing 3 tight ends. Benjamin Watson, a big offseason acquisition, has not played. Max Williams, a high draft choice. Crockett Gilmore. And it's Boyle, number 86, taking Baltimore home. Who'd have thought it?
Second and 3. Inside. 6, and boy, does he work hard. Not that big. They list him at 5'10", 212 pounds, but he was sturdy on that run.
Running right behind Marshall Yanda, Sean. They got a double team at the point of attack. They bring their right guard pulling around the horn, and Marshall Yanda. I don't know how many positions I've seen him play.
Well, but what John Harbaugh told us here, he was out with that injured shoulder, Pro Bowl right guard. Harbaugh said Yanda called him. He was watching the Iowa-Michigan game, and while watching the game, he said, you know what? I can move to left guard. My shoulder won't hurt if I play on that side. Of course, he enjoyed the Iowa-Michigan game. He's an Iowa guy. John Harbaugh did not, as his brother Jim's team went down to defeat. Alan Branch took down Kenneth Dix and the Ravens on the move, trying to punch it in and take their first lead of the night.
I think Baltimore's found themselves a young running back, and on second down and 5, this is a good opportunity for a play action pass in this 2-back set.
Under 8 minutes to go. Play action pass it is, but Flacco can't find anybody open, so he runs out of bounds. Got a yard, chased out by Chris Long.
Great to see Flacco being able to move like that. That knee injury occurred in week 12 last year, almost a year ago today. And here he is on a bootleg, and he comes out to his left and sets up a 3rd down and 4. Dennis Pitta checking back into the game. Had 2 touchdowns last week against the Miami Dolphins. Will Flacco look for his leading receiver?
John Harbaugh running down the sideline. Might he use a timeout? Yes. The play clock was at 2. You hate to use one. Saw John shaking his head, but it's a key play here. Got to make sure you get the right play set up. Gives us a moment to remind you about the annual NBA on Christmas Day tradition. 5 of the best gifts anyone could ask for if you're a basketball fan. Noon Eastern time. It's the Celtics and the Knicks, 2:30 on ABC. Then the NBA Finals rematch. The Warriors and the Cavaliers at 5. The Bulls take on the Spurs. Then it's back over to ESPN, the Timberwolves and Thunder. We wrap it up at 10:30 Eastern time. The Battle of Los Angeles, Clippers and Lakers from the Staples Center. Star-studded matchups all day long. You can also see it on ESPN app and watch ESPN. 3rd down and 4 midway through the 4th quarter. New England blitzes. Flacco in trouble. Flacco is sacked back at the 20-yard line. Rob Ninkovich. Trey Flowers, Chris Long also putting pressure on.
Boy, Rob Ninkovich, they bring the heat on 3rd down, and Ninkovich, who missed the first 4 games after being suspended, comes inside on this stunt. He comes all the way around the horn to get the Flacco. There were 4 Patriots on that sack.
Justin Tucker, 1 out of 2 tonight. His first miss of the season was blocked. They made one from 50. This is from 38. It's a 3-point game with 6:35 to go. Boy, you wish these two teams could play each other every week. Ravens started the night needing a win to move back into a tie in the AFC North with the Steelers, and technically the Ravens would be in first place. They own the tiebreaker, including the head-to-head win with Pittsburgh, and with that matchup week 16 on Christmas between the Steelers and the Ravens in Pittsburgh looks huge. The Ravens certainly have a tougher schedule remaining than the Pittsburgh Steelers. Of course, whichever team doesn't win the division is in the wild card hunt. Denver occupying that second wild card spot right now, but they have the toughest schedule remaining in the National Football League. Bill Belichick and the Patriots led 16-0 and were poised to score again. An interception thrown by Brady helped to turn this game around. Uncharacteristically mistake-prone New England with James White on the return. And well covered by Baltimore. Sharice Wright made the tackle. 6:28 to go. Tom Brady, the New England offense, now protecting a 3-point lead after this. Our coverage from Skycam tonight is brought to you by American Express. 1st and 10 New England. Patriots at their own 21. What was a 20-point lead is now 3. 6:28 to go in the 4th quarter. Tom Brady after the play fake. Deep pass, man running open. Chris Hogan off to the races. Touchdown New England. No flags on the play.
Chris Hogan from Monmouth College with the biggest catch of his pro football career. They saw something in the Ravens secondary. Hogan pushes straight up the field. Nobody's there. You have to wonder what number 33 Matt Elam is doing. Elam fell down in a critical moment against the Bengals a couple weeks ago, and he blows a coverage, and you do not do that against Tom Brady. He will throw you.
And he did for a 79-yard touchdown pass to Chris Hogan, New England's longest play of the year. Extra point good by Steven Gostkowski. And just when it looked like John Harbaugh and the Ravens were right back in it, and they were, and did a lot of work to do so, one play increases the comfort zone considerably for New England. 10-point lead.
Well, you see Webb and Weddle normally as the deep safeties. And they catch Elam, number 33. And Brady delivers.
Taking advantage of backups in the game, injuries, Jimmy Smith, Rod Powers, ordinarily out there on the field all night long. Smith, the starting cornerback, they've been injured. And Brady has thrown for 398. The Patriots scored on their first possession of this half. That made it 23-3. Since then, they were outscored 17-0 before that play to Hogan a second ago. They had run only 7 plays while New England had been on defense for 26 plays, and Baltimore had outscored them 17-0. So that's a big momentum changer.
Got to go to the 2-minute drill now if you're Joe Flacco. You got to pick up the tempo. Plenty of time left.
Chris Hogan, 4 years a lacrosse player at Penn State. Midfielder, then went to Monmouth and played football. Devin Hester, one of the great return men in history. Can he give them one? No, he runs out of bounds at the 19-yard line.
Sean, just not sure if Eric Weddle is supposed to get back to the post. You see number 32 in the middle of the field. Or if it's Elam on the right side of your screen, number 33 that blows at coverage, but that's ridiculous. In a 23-20 game against Tom Brady. Now it's Flacco's turn.
And Hogan, another example of a guy New England identifies on another team. You know, you caught 36 balls last year for Buffalo. They gave him $12 million. 3 years, $12 million, 7.5 guaranteed. That surprised a lot of people. Buffalo wasn't going to match that. And now, boy, are they delighted they have him, particularly with all the injuries. He's no longer a role player. He's a key player. Incomplete pass intended for Kamar Aiken.
Got to pass protect now if you're the Ravens. And I can't reiterate it enough. The Patriots not taking a lot of chances. When they did blitz and play man-to-man earlier, they blew a coverage. I expect to see a lot of 3- and 4-man rushes. You just don't know which men are coming, but they show pressure on almost every single play.
Flacco short throw, caught. Dennis Pitta swung down by Shea McClellan. They'll give him the mark to the 21-yard line.
Just uncomfortable. You're going to see the blitz coming off the right side of your screen. It looks like both the inside linebackers are blitzing, but you see number 31, Jonathan Jones. Corners, nickels, linebackers. Exotic coverages. It's a credit to the Patriots with a lot of new players.
Third down, Flacco and the Ravens really have to have here with 5.5 to go. Deep drop. A height spiral on target. Mike Wallace to the ground to make the catch, and he is unflappable, Joe Flacco.
He's got a cannon too. He's unflappable, but he let that one rip, and right out of the break, Mike Wallace goes down to get it. Let's see what's wrong with Wallace. Slow to get up. Wallace, the former Pittsburgh Steeler, went on to Miami. Awful quiet last year in Minnesota. Has fit in nicely with this Raven receiving corps.
He was going to take a visit to New England.
Money!
But John Harbaugh and Ozzie Newsome basically wouldn't let him leave Baltimore after he visited there. Blitz off the corner from Logan Ryan. They throw it to the other side. Wow, look at the leg drive again by Kenneth Dixon to get extra yardage in the arms of Chris Long. We're inside of 5 minutes to go now.
Fighting for your playoff life. Malcolm Butler, Chris Long. That's a defensive end that can't bring down Dixon. That's impressive.
Second and 5. Late pressure from the secondary. Kyle Juszczyk upended. Chris Long again.
Like Chris Long, Sean, he doesn't even rush. I mean, he spends most of this game dropping in coverage. This is Chris Long, the ex-St. Louis Ram, who had 50 sacks in his first 6 years. He's dropped into coverage more in this half than he's probably done in his life.
Haven't seen him much on Monday Night Football. He was a St. Louis Ram prior to this year. He hasn't appeared on Monday night more than 3 years, but in that game against Seattle, he had 3 sacks against Russell Wilson. Flacco throws, good adjustment to the ball, and a juggling catch made by Steve Smith at the 29-yard line.
Steve Smith, he used to do that to me. He used to really bother me late in games. It's a fly stop. They throw this on the back shoulder, and you can't do it much better than that. Beautiful throw by Flacco to Wallace. That time it's a back shoulder ball to Steve Smith. This man can make any throw. You dream up.
Ravens need to pick up the pace here. Down to 4:04 to go. Of course, the clock stopped here, so they don't need to go quickly now. But the rest of the way, they can't afford to linger too much. They need 2 scores. They are in field goal range for Tucker. Short throw. Dixon. Boy, it's hard to get him down.
Marty Morningwig, the new offensive coordinator now, calling the plays from the sideline in this up-tempo offense. Got to get him in, got to get him up and at him. Done a nice job in a tough situation. Got to get some points on the board fast.
They fired Mark Trestman after 5 games. Last time John Harbaugh did that, he let Cam Cameron go late in the season. They wound up winning the Super Bowl. John Harbaugh wants to know. Yeah, his knee went down there. Good work by the officials. Brought the ball back to the 27-yard line.
Okay.
Then they wind the clock. 2nd and 8. Flacco. Hands catch made by Chris Moore. He's short of the first down. Rookie out of Cincinnati. Just his 4th catch of the year.
A lot of rookies. Got to hurry. Taking too much time.
Got to pick up the pace.
Field goal is not out of the question. You can make this a 1-possession game.
And the 2 timeouts and the 2-minute warning upcoming. Tight bunch to the left of Joe Flacco. Play clock all the way down to 7. Flacco throws right at the line to make. Big hit by Butler. Where's the mark?
Short.
Short of the line to make and in bounds for Dennis Pitta. Double whammy for Baltimore. Flacco is 14 for his last 15. And they're going to run the field goal team out.
3-man rush. Pitta catches this ball clearly short, I believe, of the first down. And on 4th and 1, or just inside of 1, here's Tucker.
And you can't throw the flag and lose a timeout here if you lose the challenge. It's still outside of 2 minutes. 37-yard field goal try, and it is just inside the left upright. Another one that started hooking at the beginning and sliced back just enough. 2:03 to go. They did get it off before the 2-minute warning, which is big. It's a 7-point game. Monday Night Football from Foxborough, Massachusetts. These are 2 coaches with significant backgrounds as special teams coaches. And John, this is a very interesting situation here. 2:03 to go. New England's lined up. They're expecting an onside kick, but Baltimore has the 2-minute warning and 2 timeouts. It looks like they are going to onside kick it. Tucker runs over the ball one way, rolls it another way, and never got off the ground. Pretty easy. I'm surprised. I mean, if you kick it out of the end zone, the clock doesn't start. You still get the 2-minute warning, and you have your 2 timeouts.
Well, you need a touchdown. I like the call there. I didn't necessarily like the kick. I've seen Tucker do better than that, but it's easy to second guess, but you need a touchdown.
Yeah, just never got the hop he was looking for, and Patrick Chung had a relatively easy play. But if you kick it out of the end zone, the clock never moves.
2 minutes.
You get the 2-minute warning, you get 2 timeouts. You might make them punt from deep in their own end.
Well, you have to be in an all-out run-stopping mode right here. They're going to have to run a play before the 2-minute.
Well, that's a break that they did catch.
Yeah.
That only took 2 seconds.
They've got a chance to get the ball back.
Likely in very poor field position. How will New England play it? Come out throwing. Edelman, did he stay in bounds? Yes. Dangerously close to the sideline. It wouldn't have mattered anyway because the 2-minute warning is here.
Over 400 yards passing against the Baltimore Ravens. Only Brady.
2-minute warning here in Foxborough. Hi, everybody. I'm Steve Levy. I'll be joined by the fellas here on the field for the GMC postgame report and on SportsCenter with Scott Van Pelt. His take on the firing today of Jeff Fisher. And also, SVP's one big thing will be on the end of the drought for Army. We'll see you for SportsCenter at night immediately following the game. Sean and John, bring us home.
Another good one. That Army-Navy result made Bill Belichick unhappy. He grew up largely at the Naval Academy. His dad, Steve, a coach there for 33 years. 2nd down and 2, 1:55 to go. This was the 2-minute warning stoppage. LeGarrette Blunt into that. Raven defense just runs them over for a big first down to the 33-yard line.
You make this tackle at home.
No, thank you.
I mean, this is a reverse pivot, power play, left guard, Tooney pulls. Oh, man. LeGarrette Blunt doing his thing in New England. 2nd 1,000-yard season. Tied to great Curtis Martin tonight. More touchdowns.
And his first 1,000-yard season, as you see, was in 2010. That was as a rookie in Tampa Bay. He's had an interesting career. He was in training camp that year, 2010, with Tennessee. They let him go. He went to Tampa Bay, had the 1,000-yard season. He wound up with New England. He went to Pittsburgh. Now he's back in New England. Baltimore used its first timeout. Now Garrett Blunt down to the 29-yard line. And John Harbaugh will use his last timeout. Lardarius Webb made the stop for Baltimore. Well, there's a race for the #1 seed. New England in that position. They're the only team with as few as 2 defeats, and it looks like it's going to stay that way. Kansas City on the Patriots' heels. And the Raiders also at 10-3 after their loss in Kansas City on Thursday night. The Patriots, though, go to Denver. How about Denver? Denver plays all 3 of these teams. They all have 10 wins. We talked about how tough Denver's schedule is. Wow. Combined 30 and 8, the remaining opponents for the Broncos.
32. 32. Let's go.
2nd and 5. Another first down would put it away for New England. Blunt's close, about 1.5 yards shy. And the clock will run under 1.5 minutes to go.
You come in here, you see Tom Brady without Rob Gronkowski, without Danny Amendola. Here comes the #1 defense in football. And what does Tom Brady do? He introduces the world to Chris Hogan, over 100 yards receiving. He throws for 400 plus. And if it's not for the interception right there in the end zone on the far right, you can't play much better. You can't. He's 39 years old. He's got this TB12 center here in Foxborough. I was going by there today to figure out what he's done. He has really worked hard on his lower body. His legs are in tremendous shape. He has that fast twitch motion back there. He watches every crumb that he puts in his body, every fluid that he drinks, and he's pliable. That's what he said. I read that. So I don't even know what pliable is. So I go by the TB12 center and I said, what is pliable? Easily bent, flexible. And it's the lowers. He's just able to reset his feet. He's quick. You got to be pliable. He looks stiff. You got to move. You got to be quick.
It's cold.
He's 39. He's more pliable, you see, than he's ever been.
And that really helps him.
Pliable. Easily bent, flexible, something you obviously aren't. But I can't get over the performance of a 39-year-old man in his 17th season with players that he doesn't hardly know. What a grinder.
Oh, perhaps some foreshadowing. Blunt stood up, battling, and he stopped short of the first down. And now the Patriots will have a decision to make. The clock will run down to about 12 seconds. Do you go for it? Do you kick a field goal? I don't think you'd risk the field goal the way this special teams
I don't think so. This is going to jump over somebody's head and run this thing all the way down. Tom Brady probably will drop back to pass and throw the ball out of the end zone, or maybe one of those, who knows, with Coach Harbaugh. I saw them run around with a punter for about 15 seconds at the end of the game.
Held everybody to close out their game against Cincinnati.
Well, that got a lot of attention here in New England. People said to the Ravens, well, you complained about our formations 2 years ago, and then you go and do that. But what the Ravens did is legal. It may be changed at the end of the season, just as what the Patriots did 2 years ago was modified by the rules at the end of that season.
They're going to go for this, I think, with LeGarrette Blount. Remember a couple weeks ago against the Jets, Tom Brady in this situation with one of the great hard counts got Muhammad Wilkerson of the Jets to jump off sides in a 4th and 1 situation. Josh McDaniels has been with Brady a long time. And what a job McDaniels has done. We have not given him the credit that he deserves. 40 years old now.
Matching wits with a really good friend, Dean Pease, who was on the New England staff. Being left of his own volition. They have no animosity at all toward New England. It's a personal matter. Trying to get the Ravens to jump. They don't, so they give it to Blount, who puts it in the win column for New England. And they very nearly squandered a 20-point lead in the second half, and it would have been just the second time in the history of the franchise they had done that. It's a big win for New England with an eye toward the #1 seed and home field advantage through the playoffs in the AFC, and they take another step toward what will be inevitably their 8th consecutive AFC East title. Sports Center coming up next, including the GMC post-game report. We'll be back in a matter of seconds to reveal this week's choice for the Gruden Grinder. Did John Gruden give us a clue a moment ago? Stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching Monday Night Football from Foxborough. More to come in a moment.